You are getting ready to listen to the voice of Dr. Rhadi Ferguson, 2004 Olympian, four-time national judo champion, Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, author, speaker, and coach.
Hey, what's going on, good people? Good morning. Just got back from taking the long way to come back from the gym. I was struggling in the gym this morning. I didn't want to do any other work in the gym. I like to cry out in the gym. I got up this morning, hit the snooze twice. What I don't normally do, hit the snooze twice, and then sat on the edge of the bed, and sat on the toilet, and then sat in the car, and then sat in the parking lot of the gym, and then went into the gym bathroom and sat on the toilet again, and then sat down by my water bottle. I didn't want to do none of that workout today. I was going through it, and that ain't what I want to talk about today, but I want to let you know, man, I had them struggles too, and I don't just work out when I'm motivated. I work out because I work out when I'm supposed to work out. When I'm supposed to work out, I work out, and that's just what you do. You don't wait till you're motivated to do it. But I want to let you know that my book, The Unspoken Struggles of Divorce, dropped today, Man's Guide to Surviving Divorce. I want to talk about something that I cover in the book, but I don't cover in depth in the book. And one of my friends, Azizi, had to give me some perspective on this, because I remember when I went through my divorce, man, I was like super, super upset and bitter. And I kept harping on the fact that I only get my kids half the time. I only see my kids half the time. And I would always run the math of how old my kids are till they get to 18. And then I take that time and I cut it in half, not understanding that the time that you have your kids is 100% of your time. And your time hasn't been cut in half because God didn't cut your time in half. It's just that you have to invest your time differently. And the one thing that I found out is that, man, you always have the option to pick your kid up from school, to drop your kid off, to pick your kid up in the morning, to pick the kid up from practices, take them to practice. You have the option to do more. And then somebody told me that, and I was like, why I gotta sacrifice? And they said parenting is about sacrificing. So I want to tell this to people who are going through a divorce or been through a divorce or sitting there doing that, what I would call, divorce math, where you're sitting there thinking about, well, I don't have my kids. Listen, you got to remove those discussions from your mind. And you got to get past the point, and that happens in the beginning. You get to the point where you're so upset at the other person, and you got to move past that point and really go internal and just focus on yourself and the things that you can control, the things that you can do, and always speaking positively about your ability to interact with your children. And when you get down to it, to interact with your former spouse, because you really want to develop an opportunity to co-parent instead of parallel parent. Now, if you don't know the difference between the two is in a co-parenting relationship, we work together because we have some similar ideals and tenets and belief systems in order to move the rearing process forward for the children. And parallel parenting is you do what you do at your house and I do what I do at my house. And that can work, okay? But the bottom line is, whether you're married or divorced, you're always co-parenting. It's just that you got to find a way to co-parent with the divorce in a positive way. So I always, now in the beginning, let me be clear. For the most part, and I would say for the most part, because now, especially now, and it's difficult because you have to bridle your tongue when you go through divorce. Even if you don't say anything, you're still communicating to your kids, and everybody makes those mistakes in divorce. But I constantly tell my children that You know, the reason why they can do some of the things that they do and afforded the opportunities that they are afforded, a lot of those things are because of what their mom does, what she does for a living, how she provides for them, how she supports, you know, them and all those particular things. I'm a big dog. I am not the biggest dog in my parenting relationship. My spouse is a bigger financial dog. She's not even in the kennel that I'm in. She got a special kennel. She got a VIP kennel. And the things that my children are able to do, a lot of them are because of the opportunities that she provides. And I hammer that thing home to them over and over and over again. Because you can't have it all, you know. You can't have mom there 100% of the time and then get 100% of the things that you want. You can't have it. And I give them that particular balance, because that balance for them is good. It's good for them to understand. It's good for them to know that, man, there are things that you get because your mom provides those things for you. And because we have the opportunity to co-parent, there have been some times earlier when there was a little small amount of disrespect from my son, where I went over to my ex's house, walked him outside with his mom, had a talk with him, and, hey, man, bro, if I got to come over here again, I'm going to tighten it up like it don't need to be tightened up. All right. And then have a talk with him by himself, let him know the expectations, because he's grown up being a man in that house, how he needs to take care of his mom and take care of his sister and take out the garbage. And like, those are the co-parenting conversations that you can have. And I'm not telling you that I got there overnight. What I'm telling you is there's a way to get there. I say it in the book. I'll say it to you. You need a support system. You need to take your ass to therapy. You need a support system. You need to take your ass to therapy. You need a support system. You need to take your ass to therapy. You need a support system, and you need to take your ass to therapy. Now, my parents are old school black folks. My dad was like, when you gonna stop going to therapy? You know, you don't need to be going into therapists. You need to sit down and you need to pray. Well, those two things aren't mutually exclusive. You can go to the therapist and you can sit down and pray, and you can go to church, and you can have support groups. But I would tell and encourage anybody who's going through that process, man. And in the beginning, my ex and I went through some joint sessions together with the kids, you know, a couple sessions, maybe, I think it was about maybe 5 or 10, but we didn't agree. There was some headbutting in that joint, but it's man, go to therapy, man. That's all I can tell you. And a lot of people go to therapy. For me, therapy, church, gym, and my Howard University community helped me out severely. I mean, tremendously. And it was difficult and it was hard. And my friends, man, my friends didn't let me slide on nothing, you know. I mean, they nothing. Hard conversations, difficult communication channels, really, there was some ruts in the communication a little bit, but man, everything is a lot smoother now. And it's still, divorce is the gift that keeps on giving. That's the unfortunate part. It will give to you for the rest of your life. I mean, you'll deal with it the day that it's announced, the day that it's solidified, as you work through it. All the plays and the graduations and the weddings they'll all be clunky and they'll all be absolutely horrible. My son's senior graduation was a horrible experience for me. I remember getting in my car and I was saying, man, this is fucking terrible. All of it was terrible. Everybody was sitting around looking at each other. Nobody wanted to go out to eat with everybody else. It's almost two separate families, two separate groups, two separate things. And people who sit down and they think about divorce, they think about divorce in isolation in terms of their situation, and they don't think about the impact that's going to have on the generations to come and everybody else. And for me, and I will say this, I don't care who it is, outside of, I don't want anybody to be abused and hit and things like that. But I would say that 8 times out of 10, divorce is probably one of the most selfish acts that you can make and take in your life. It is absolutely selfish. And when you get married, you want to be selfless. There's self-abnegation, self-sacrifice, self-conceit. The things that you said that you're going to do, you should do. And if you're no longer going to do those things anymore, then you should sit down, talk, and do all the work that you're going to do anyway. What people don't realize is that all the work that you do after divorce, if you'd have did all that work before you got divorced, you would still be married. But people don't do that. We have this culture where everybody just, and with that, there's things that come with that. There's a level of abandonment. There's a level of distrust that you have. Unfortunately, you believe that if somebody says something, that they're going to break their promise later on down the line. My children harbor that thing when they think that, hey man, everything is going okay in a relationship, and then boom, somebody's going to leave them and they're going to be left by themselves. And there's a lot of things that come with that. And a lot of people don't talk about those particular struggles that happen. They just talk about then this line pisses me off. It pisses me off to the utmost, and it fucking pisses me off. A lot of people say, well, kids are so resilient. I don't give a fuck how resilient kids are. So are fucking tires on a goddamn car, motherfucker. But you ride on them and they'll burst too. Like, it doesn't matter how resilient somebody is. That there's certain terrain that your car should not go through. And unfortunately, the terrain that children are going through right now, I don't think they're fully equipped for that. And it's a new space and a new place. We have more therapists in this space, more sociologists in this space, more psychiatrists in this space. And I think that's good for the support. But a lot of it is also based upon what shouldn't be happening anyway. Like, we shouldn't be feeding cows grain type of deal. It shouldn't be happening anyway, but because we do it, it employs a lot more veterinarians in that particular space and place. But these are the struggles with divorce. I'm asking you to support this particular venture. I'm asking you to, pass it on to some people that you know. I'm a man, so I wrote on behalf of men and supportive men in this particular situation. I had a situation where I, on 2 occasions, had to call the suicide hotline. I was in that space and place. It was a deep and dark situation for me because I had considered myself and I identified as a certain thing. And then when I was no longer that husband in that relationship, my worldview was crippled for a period of time. And as I said, man, I had a quality support group, really good friends, Howard University community. I went to therapy, and my family helped me out in a great way. And what I want to do right now is, provide some people with the conversations and things that a lot of people don't really talk about, the struggles that I had, and hopefully those struggles can help someone else. So www.theunspokenstruggles.com. And I'm going to have myself this cowboy ribeye that I put on the grill last night. I'm going to heat it up. I'm going to tighten it up like pantyhose, 2 sizes small. And as us black folks say, I'm going to go about my business. Take care. Remember, I love you, but God loves you best. Please visit www.theunspokenstruggles.com.
You are getting ready to listen to the voice of Dr. Rhadi Ferguson, 2004 Olympian, 4-time national judo champion, Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, author, speaker, and coach.